I'd like to call to order the meeting of Township Committee for Hamilton Township, Monday, May 6, 2019. Please rise for the flag salute. John, would you like to lead us? Sure.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law by posting a notice of this meeting on the bulletin board in the municipal building and by publication in the press of Atlantic City on January the 10th, 2019, and the Atlantic County Record on January the 16th, 2019. Mr. Gishard?
Present.
Mr. Kurtz?
Present.
Mrs. Link?
Here.
Mr. Silva?
Here.
Mayor Schenker?
Here. We have a moment of silence for private reflection. Thank you. To start off with, we have a proclamation for one of our longtime employees, John Crowing. You want to step up? We'll present the proclamation.
That's right.
You told me, John, I didn't think you were at all.
How are you? Stand in the middle. So just so everyone knows, John was the first employee with the township in 1978 through the CETA program, federal program offered public service jobs, training, and opportunities for high school students. On April 1979, the township hired John as a full-time laborer, and then a year later he was promoted to truck driver. In July 1988, John was promoted to equipment operator. For the past 40 years, John has been working hard and has been a valuable employee of our township. So, thank you very much, John. We appreciate it.
Well, let me read this proclamation. Whereas John Groen has been a lifelong resident of the Township of Hamilton, and he has been employed by the Township of Hamilton Public Works Department since April 7, 1979. And whereas the Township of Hamilton is proud to honor John Groen on the occasion of this noteworthy anniversary of employment with the Township, and to commend him for 40 years of dedication and commitment to the community. Now therefore, we, the Township Committee of the Township of Hamilton, County of Atlantic, State of New Jersey, on this day, May 6, 2019, do hereby recognize John Groen in honor of his devotion to the residents of the Township of Hamilton. We take this opportunity to express our sincere and grateful appreciation for his service. He is well respected by his colleagues and is a valuable asset to our community. We hereby extend to John our congratulations on his anniversary and our best wishes to him for continued success, happiness, and good health in the years to come. And it's signed by the mayor and all the Township Committee. John, thank you. You understand?
Oh, we'll try.
All right, good.
Listen, just a couple fun facts that when John started here, the average cost of a new home was $58,000 and the average income was $17,500. The minimum wage was $2.90. Is that when we started you at?
I remember $6,600 a year.
Yeah. I hope we're paying you a little more than that. 700, yeah, that's all right. Good luck. We're better. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks
Thank
again.
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
40 years, guys. You don't say it.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a long time.
That's what I thought you said.
Okay.
Guess that's why he's
More great times.
So we'll move on. Item number 1, addition and deletion, late agenda items to be considered for action tonight
So moved.
We actually have an item that needs to be deleted from the agenda. Item 8B, Grayson Sapio, is that close? Beach bag checker at $10 per hour. I need a motion to remove that from the agenda, please.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the ayes have it. Early comment on the agenda items excluding items listed for public hearings. We have none.
No one signed up.
Thank you, Mike. Discussions, formal actions may be taken. Item A, removal of trees in War Memorial Park. You want to give us a little background on that, Mike?
As you know, we hired an arborist to come in and inspect the trees there and at the
Right.
cove. And unfortunately, they found 3 of the maple trees at Memorial Park that have to come down. They're dangerous. And there's 1 oak tree that they're going to be doing a core sample on to see if it needs to come down. So I just wanted the committee to know that the park's going to look a little different when we take these trees down, and didn't want to be surprised.
Okay.
So
That's all.
what we're saying is in the future shortly, we should consider maybe planting some trees
Yeah.
between the ratio and what trees have naturally been targeted for removal. We're losing a lot of shade over there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we should replant some replacements.
news.
Okay.
I would suggest dogwood trees. They don't fall down on people's heads, and they look beautiful
Yeah.
in there. So that might be a suggestion.
Okay.
Okay. Very good. So we don't need to take action on that. It's just more of a notification thing. Thank you, Mike. Item B, reduction in 2 performance guarantees for Fenmore Homes at Woods Landing LLC. These were previously tabled. You want me to list both items? Okay. Item 1, Phase 1, from $271,890.84 to $148,468.32. Number 2, Phase 4A, from $220,533.70 to $78,948.40. Jessica?
Yes. It's the opinion of the solicitor to table this, both Phase 1 and Phase 4A to the next session. Mr. Dixon is here to give some background information on these issues, but basically, the issue is if this is voted on tonight and action is taken, we have an issue if you ask the solicitor at a later time to take action against the bonding company, because we have to figure out first if the basin is included with what was already bonded for.
Okay.
So we need to do research on that. We are still within the time frame that this can be tabled again.
Okay.
So for that reason, we're reluctant to release any money if the issue with the basin continues. So we've asked that this motion to table this and take no action today. And Mr. Dixon is here if you would like any additional information on the basin themselves.
You want
We
to come
hear
up
from
and just
Mr. Dixon.
say hi? Give us a little brief.
Evening, everybody. Nice
Good
to see
evening.
you.
How you doing,
Evening.
Kevin?
So we did an inspection. One of the things that we discussed with the solicitor's office is that the request for the performance guarantee reduction came directly to this office, my office,
Okay.
as opposed to going through the proper routing through the clerk's office, where it would be identified with regard and compared to the outstanding bond issue, as well as the escrow account for the inspection of the reduction. So there's some procedural issues as well that would be better off if we could just clear those up before the committee takes action.
Okay. Thank you.
Very good, thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
So we need a motion to retable, so to speak.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to table this item, or both items. Does anybody have any questions? We need a roll call for this, or is the voice okay?
Voice is okay.
Voice is good. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
those opposed, the ayes have it. We have nothing under public hearings and adoptions, nothing under introduction. 6, award of bids, contracts, and change orders. A, resolution awarding a contract for property maintenance, mowing, and other specialized landscaping services for the Township of Hamilton, bid number 219-02, to Green Trees Landscaping Construction Company Incorporated for the amount not to exceed $25,000 for the period of 6/1/2019 to 5/9/2020, or 5/31/2020, excuse me.
Mike, how much did we spend last year on this?
I don't know the breakdown between, because we had the two demos as well, but we probably spent 25,000 or more.
Probably spent 25.
Or more, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
We have 50 in the budget, and we're leaving 25 for the demo that we think that's coming up soon. But this is for the enforcement, mowing. It's
Right.
not mowing
Right.
parks.
Okay.
It's the tougher mowing.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Rita, could we get a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Gishard?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mayor Shanker?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
B, resolution authorizing the upfitting of 2 international salt trucks by Trotterius Incorporated through Educational Service Commission of New Jersey, contract number ESC&J 1718-30. Cost not to exceed $32,989.46.
Michael, these are the trucks we looked at. They're just going to lift the bodies off and put them on a new chassis cowl?
Yes, committee's already approved the purchase of the 2 trucks.
And it
This
saves
is
us
the
some
upfit.
considerable money.
Oh, yes,
there.
quite a bit of savings. Yeah.
That's great.
I move the motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Is this, oh, I'm sorry.
Go
Is
ahead.
this for the both of them, the 32,000, or
That's for 2
each
of them.
one?
That's for 2.
Two? Okay, just clarifying.
Yep. Any other questions? Hearing none. Rita, could we get a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Gishard?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mayor Shanker?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
We move to the consent agenda. I would ask that G and H be taken out of the consent agenda.
In that case, I'll move the consent agenda items A through F and I.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing no questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. We'll move back to G, resolution to cancel 2009 taxes and refund payment made, Block 997, Lot 21, due to totally disabled veteran exemption.
So moved.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Rita, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Gishard?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mayor Shanker?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
Thank you. H, resolution authorizing refund of credits that exist on Block 1132.08, Lot 1, Block 1132.09, Lot 1, due to assessment reduction.
I'll move the resolution.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and second. Are there any questions? Seeing no,
Is it reduced too? Yeah.
It was for common area lots in the Glen Air palette, and the lots were reduced to $100 per lot for common areas. And when that was reduced, there was an extra credit of $747 for one of the lots. So that was applied to future taxes. But because the tax payments are so low, it'll take close to 10 years to pay off the $747.
Okay, so
any other
that's how much
questions?
you're paying back or giving grab.
That's how much the refund is for.
Okay.
Rita, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Gishard?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mayor Shanker?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
Thank you. Number 8, personnel. A, resolution to appoint Deborah Oppenmuller as zoning officer at the salary of $52,500 annually, effective date to be determined, eligible for a $2,500 increase after 1 year with successful performance evaluation.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second
Second.
it.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Rita, could I get a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Gishard?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mayor Shanker?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
B, resolutions to appoint the following as Cove staff for the 2019 season, effective 6/15/19. So unfortunately, I have to take these one at a time, so be patient. Max Crispell, day manager, at $14.25 per hour.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Rita, could I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Gishard?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mayor Shanker?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
Number 3, Nicole Scharfetter, beach badge checker at $10 per hour.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Rita, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Gishard?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mayor Shanker?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
Thank you. Number 4, Kimberly Trofa, beach badge checker at $10 per hour.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Rita?
Mr. Gishard?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mayor Shanker?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
Number 5, Stephen Cummings, lifeguard at $11.50 per hour.
So moved.
Second.
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 We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Hearing no questions, Rita, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Gishard?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mayor Shanker?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
Number 6, Matthew Hedrick, lifeguard at $11 per hour.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? No questions. Rita, can I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Gishard?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mayor Shanker?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
Number 7, Raven McIntosh, lifeguard at $11 per hour.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Are there any questions? Hearing no questions. Rita, with the roll call vote, please.
Mr. Gishard?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mayor Shanker?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
Number 8, Matthew McClay, lifeguard at $11 per hour.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Are there any questions? Rita, for the last time, could I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Gishard?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mayor Shanker?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
Thank you. C, resolution to appoint Christopher Ayers as a part-time communications officer for the police department at $16.24 per hour, effective date to be determined.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions? Rita, could I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Gishard?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mayor Shanker?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
Thank you. D, motion to grant authorization to advertise for regular full-time truck driver / labor.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
those opposed? The ayes have it. E, motion to grant authorization to advertise for a regular full-time clerk in the Community Development Office.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing no questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
those opposed? The ayes have it. We'll move on to number 9, approvals. A, minutes for the April 15, 2019 regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing no questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. B, payrolls and bills. Bill list total $9,871,732.34.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing no questions, Rita, could we get a roll call, please?
Mr. Gishard?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mayor Shanker?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
And thank you. Number 10, reports. Mr. Administrator, what do you got?
Nothing to add.
Okay, thank you. Miss Solicitor?
Just wanted to report that all tax appeals for the 2019 year and all previous years have been completed on both the county tax board level and the tax court level.
That's good to hear. All right, very good. Anything else? Anyone have any questions on that? No?
Other
Okay.
than, were there a lot of appeals that increase the amount of money that, or decrease the amount of money for taxes? A little general type thing. I guess you really couldn't answer that.
Mostly decreased, I'd say.
Okay.
What
All right, we'll
about
have to
the
make that
township
up.
level? What about at the township level?
Appeals typically decrease.
Hmm?
You typically decrease the assessment. The others would be on the added.
Yeah, I might have those been completed.
I'm not sure about that. I know that on the county level and state level they happen.
Okay, thank you.
How about for J.C. Penney's? Have they gone for appeal yet? What?
They're not closed yet.
They're not closed yet? But even if they weren't closed, they're still not doing a business, so.
We don't want to give them any ideas.
Sha.
Okay, anything else? Mr. Engineer?
Mayor and Committee, I have a number of items. The first is the chiller replacement. The work is completed on the chiller replacement. I'm just waiting for the maintenance bond. They've submitted the certifications from Train, the manufacturer. They've submitted the maintenance manuals, but I can't make a recommendation for payment until we receive a maintenance bond, and that's approved by Mr. Sandman's office. Next item is Tavistock. We had a meeting out at Tavistock 2 weeks ago. Lou DeChico and myself met with Master Wire Fence Company from Folsom along with Arawak. We walked all 5 basins that'll be fenced. We've outlined where the basins are going to be fenced. Arawak submitted a detail that I wasn't completely happy with, the fence detail. So last Thursday, Lou DeChico and I went up to Master Wire Fence Company and we reviewed the fence details. They've upgraded the fence detail at the same cost. And Lou's very happy. I'm very happy with the fence that's going to be installed on the 5 basins. That work should start in about a week on the basins. The paving work, they're going to wait until after Memorial Weekend to get started out there.
Trying to get some more consistent weather.
Yes.
That's good.
Will the fences be aesthetic, or are
They
they?
will be. There'll be a post and rail, 3 horizontal rails, and a 2x4 wire safety fabric, and that'll be dark.
Oh, okay.
It'll be like the one at Glen Air.
It will.
That
Exactly.
looked very nice.
Exactly.
Okay. That's good.
I list Chancellor's Place and Atlantic Electric. Right after our last committee meeting, we had about 2 inches of rain a few days after our last committee meeting, and I went out to Atlantic Electric, and there no water left Atlantic Electric's property. And while I was out there, I received a phone call from the Homeowners Association at Chancellor's Place. They were meeting that night, and they called me and told me that they were pretty happy with what's going on out there at Atlantic Electric.
Great.
That's good.
I received a phone call today from Atlantic Electric's engineer. The work that's been done out at Atlantic Electric, they excavated the lower basin. They removed about 6 inches of silt. The larger basin in the back, they've done some excavation and graded that. But their engineer from Apex Engineer called me today, and they're ready to start the next phase of some of their work. So I believe it could all be done administratively, and they're just going to keep working on this. And I've been in contact with Ken Mosca, and he's saying, they want to be good to the township and good to their neighbors over there at Chancellor's Place. So I think the mayor got their attention.
They were very cooperative. After we met with them, they were more than happy to do what they needed to do, which is good. They're a good neighbor.
Steve, did I have to work on their basin, especially the one between Knightsbridge Way and Princeton Avenue there that contains water?
They just hired an engineer, a local engineer. They've been interviewing. They haven't been happy with the engineers they interview, but they also, they're pretty interested. They reached out for an engineer that teaches at Rutgers, and he's willing to come down. So they've asked me if I'd be willing to attend the meeting that they're going to have with their engineer, and I will. I'm a little concerned that some of their basins are built at, near, or below the seasonal high water table, and I think with the 68 inches of rain we had last year, I think they were feeling that high water table. There were 42 houses that had water in Chancellor's Place in their basements this year.
Okay.
Main Street, I list Main Street at Linwood Avenue. I keep bringing this up. At Linwood Avenue and Main Street, there's a manhole. We're going to allow a drain pipe to connect into one of our storm inlets. I'm just a little, I'm on it, I'm a little disappointed with, I have a combination, I have Verizon and I have NJDOT issuing a permit. I have the two challenging agencies that I'm trying to move at a pace they're not used to moving, but we'll keep that on the list. I'll keep working on that. Construction projects, I list 5 projects, but I just want to, Outback Steakhouse is moving along. The grand opening, they're telling me, is going to be maybe the last week in June. They still have some site work to do. The building is substantially complete, so things are moving along there. Not as fast as we would hope, but things are improving.
Better than it was.
Better than it was. Wellsprings Church, if you've been down Summers Point, Mays Lane Road, you can't miss it. There's about 900 feet of frontage on Summers Point Road there that's been cleared. The lot is shallow. It's only about 200 feet in depth. That's a 10,000 square foot church with 200 seats, 70 stall parking lot. So they've done the clearing, and it's, you know.
And they're going to connect into the sewer line on the industrial park, right?
That's correct. They're going to put a small pump station and pump it up Babcock Road. Yep.
I know they're building there, but it looks horrendous, destroying all of those trees.
Natural.
There's mature trees there, and it's hard to see them come down.
I do remember the application at the planning board level, and they are going to put significant plantings back, so I think that'll help a little bit. But you're right, they are doing a lot of clearing there. Yeah.
Yeah, there is a buffer that shows up on the approved plans, and we'll make sure they
And I
follow
think
that.
we're getting, if I remember the plan correctly, I think we're getting sidewalk up to the industrial park.
We're getting it partway.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. That's
Really?
thanks to Jack Percy.
Yeah.
Sidewalk
That's
Jack.
a long sidewalk.
Thank you, Jack.
John Brooks Recovery, they cleared their site last week. That's back in Pinewood in the industrial park. It's about a 10-acre site. They've cleared close, pretty much property line to property line. The planning board asked them to retain some of the laurel, and they've separated that and flagged it off. So they're doing the best they can with that site. The 2018 road program, we have 2 roads left. McKee Avenue, we had a meeting about a week and a half ago. We had Wade Smith, myself, and Brett, and we just want to be ahead of the curve on the traffic, because it's going to be 2 very challenging days with traffic. We're going to reroute the traffic through Volunteer Way and through Renaissance Drive. I've gotten permission from Buffalo Pike Associates, Benderson, to allow traffic to get rerouted there, and we just received a traffic control plan there, and Wade Smith I think he's signing off on that. So again, that's going to start right after Memorial Weekend. The final road for the road program is going to be Pennington, and again, that'll start after Memorial Weekend, so that's coming. I list some some street opening permits on my report, but I have 2 other things to report. Tomorrow, we've been waiting a little while. The painted stop bar on Babcock Road is going to be installed tomorrow. The Babcock at the intersection of Summers Point and Mays Landing Road. So that's going to be, Public Works has been asking me when that's going in, and I've got confirmation.
Were they working on, I noticed the state was out there a couple of days at the control center for the traffic lights. I don't know, were they changing the timing, or will they be?
They're changing, they're going to a different system from what I understand. I haven't heard the details, but I heard they were out there.
Good.
And the last item I have, Roger, you asked me about this at the last committee meeting, the stop bar at New York Avenue. And
Yes.
I've been in contact with Kevin. Kevin supplied me with the detail of the stop bar that gets moved back. I don't know the dimensions, 70 feet roughly. I've given that detail to Lamberg Construction, and I expect a price tomorrow from Lamberg Construction, and that would, if the price is reasonable, it's a good price, I'll submit that to Township Committee. The way we were thinking is handle it as a change order to get the work done under our 2018 road program, rather than wait. I think Kevin initially was going to have it under his
Can
New
you,
York.
when you do that, can you get the electronic sign out there to let people know that you're no longer pulling up, you're going to have to stop at the Star Bar, which was moved back for public safety reasons?
Yes, I will do that.
Thank you.
And that concludes my report.
Is there anything new about the cotton mill and the development of?
Well, there was there was a work session a few weeks ago, and I know the interest. I've had a few other conversations with the engineer. Nothing in the last 3 weeks, but I know they're actively working on that.
Okay, very
They've
good.
got a long road ahead of them to
Yeah.
get where they need to be.
Well,
We got a lot of things they got to get done as far as permitting and stuff like that and approvals.
well, I know they have the Pine Lands to go before again.
So nothing new on the stores for Buffalo Pike?
Nothing that I could say. They say they have on the next building that we're just looking at the gravel base area. They're working through contract with somebody on that pad site.
Mm-hmm.
But they can't officially tell me, and they say it takes a lot of months of legal negotiations going back and forth on the lease, but it's still active, is what they're telling me.
Anyone else? Thank you, Steve. We move to Township Committee. Judy?
I'm pleased to see that our Girl Scouts are moving towards a more friendly planet by suggesting and hoping that instead of having styrofoam trays, to have a sort of cardboard type tray on Friday, at least on Friday. But styrofoam is a big problem environmentally. And I was listening to the news tonight, and they were saying we're not really making great progress on preserving our planet, but if people would eat less meat and walk a lot more, this would go a great way. So I'm thinking, well, maybe we should start a walking program with our citizens. It's just a thought. Okay, that's it.
Thank you, Judy. John?
I want to just make a comment quickly on May 2nd, we had the Youth and Government Day once again. One of my kudos goes out to Lisa, who pulled it all together, and all the departments. The police department, kids had a tour. It was great. And then they come in the committee room and had a mock meeting. And a young fellow by the name of James Nilsson took the mayor's seat. And you could tell that this group was a little more on the ball than previous years because they did their homework. The topic was a discussion of township curfew ordinance, and it was heated at times. So I thought it went really well, and we really enjoyed it. And they had a good time going through, being dispersed between the different department heads and going from finance to public works to everywhere. And it was really a good program, and I think the kids really enjoyed it. That's it.
So you're saying you found my replacement, is that what you're saying?
We did. Yeah.
Roger?
I attended the Green Fair over at Oakcrest High School, and in some respects I was a little disappointed at the turnout. I know there was a lot going on in the county that weekend. You had the Bay Fest, you had the big giant yard sale at Cologne Fire Department, you had a few other things. But I was reading Ingrid's report, and because I had brought over a couple boxes of papers to shred, and I think she quoted as saying that they shredded 1.5 tons of paper for members of the residents who were there. And it was interesting because that very same truck, the next day I had to go to the Bank of America branch in Northfield. They were there doing shredding. I know they're not shredding money, but I know they were, they must go around from bank to bank and do that. I find it very interesting. It's an interest, very electronically controlled, that whole thing. And of course, Public Works did a great job assisting them in getting everything ready so that they could do it. And it was very interesting. Mayor, I just want to ask the chief a question or two. Chief, I always read your monthly report with great interest, okay? Two things maybe three things. Property checks for the month, 1,328. Are they stuff that's scheduled, or it's stuff that the force does automatically?
They are issues or complaints called in by the residents that we put on our operations plan to specifically check those areas.
Okay, two other things, alarms from businesses and alarms from residential. Are most of those alarms, I guess they are, there's nothing happening, and once the alarm happens, there's been no break-in or anything?
That's correct. Most of those are false alarms.
Now, the repetition, and there have been some that have repeated, right?
Yes.
Do they get fined if they don't?
If they are cited, they get fined, and candidly, they don't get cited very often.
I know the department does cooperate with them in a lot of ways, and when I look at this report, and you've got 8 people out,
Yes.
you know, for extended work injury and family medical leave, how do you get all this work done?
The officers have to pick up those calls. It just makes them busier. And typically what will happen is it's less available patrol time to do proactive policing. So they're typically running from call to call to call.
Okay. Well, I'm just always, every month I look at it, I mean, for the year so far, through April, you're up to almost 18,000.
Yes,
That's a lot of calls coming into the department.
it is.
And that's it's commendable for what they do. And I know you break it out, and it's quite an extensive report, so just want to pass our thanks on to the work that they do.
I'll pass that on.
Thank you.
Do they have to do follow-up reports for everyone that they've gone out to see?
No, not for alarms, no.
No, okay. That would be a lot more work.
Thanks.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Chief. Roger? Rodney?
Okay. Good evening. I just want to remind everyone about Veterans Day is coming up, and your Veterans Advisory Board has worked diligently on preparing the ceremony, which will be at 11 o'clock at the War Memorial Park. Also, the VFW or the VA is hosting an event at the VFW post here. I think it's May 16th, but it's to information to veterans. So any veterans that might be interested should contact the post, get details on it. Roger talked about the Green Affair, which unfortunately didn't have as many people as we would have liked. But we want to commend the Green team for the work they did in helping to put that on. The Senior Citizens Advisory Committee is planning on an event on May 22nd. It'll be a dessert affair at the Methodist Church. So certainly interested people are encouraged to come. Also on the 28th of September, they're going to be sponsoring a health fair at the mall. They've done this before and it was well received. So keep your eye open for that. I just want to comment also, I attended the Youth in Government Day, which is always fun, and the kids were really sharp. Of course, I always note that, I mean, what happens at the national level happens at the local level too. In this case, I forgot how many people there were, maybe about 25. But out of that, there were only 2 males, the rest were females. So, so we see the Me Too movement, yeah. So I thought that was interesting. And every year, the females way outnumber the males. I don't know what that is, but that's what we're seeing. But the kids are very perceptive, and I'm sure as a result of this, they walk away with a much better understanding of what that local government does and what democracy is and how it works. We talked about that, and I think they have a much better appreciation for it. So it's always fun to have that. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Rodney. I have something to report tonight that I'm kind of happy about. About a year ago, I approached the people at Verizon on Main Street, and when I say I approached them, I kept calling people until I got to the right person. At one point, I got a hold of a man named Nouvel Mangaroo, who was the head of real estate for all of Verizon company in the state of New Jersey. It took a little bit, but I got him down from North Jersey, We met him in front of his building there on Main Street and basically just told him this is unacceptable. We've always been a good neighbor. We've always been fair to them, and they needed to be fair to us. So we thought maybe we could get this done quickly, but I can see where Verizon operates a lot like government. So it took a year. Could you hand me that? First of all, I want to let everybody know that Steve Filippone, our engineer, and his firm, EDA, went ahead and put this together for nothing. And basically what we did was we showed them what would be acceptable for us to create a park-like atmosphere in front of their building. If you guys want to pass it around. Where there'll be a couple sets, 3 sets of benches with trash cans, some trees to kind of, well, basically to block the building so you can't see it. So it was a tough push. And I kind of feel like that I helped get us where we needed to be in front of the right person. But I want to let you know that a lot of the credit goes to Steve Filippone. This man tortured those people until they finally said, all right, we're coming, we're going to do it. This work that you see in this drawing here started today and will be done by the end of the week. So, you know, there are some things that you come into an office like this and you want to do something, you want to make a difference. Actually, it's just from people complaining and you're tired of hearing them complain. So you try and do something about it, and a lot of times it's very hard, and this was no exception. This was very difficult to do, especially with a company the size of Verizon, who really doesn't care about towns like this. So you got to get in front of them and make them care. And with Steve's help, and thank you very much, Steve. I appreciate all that you did. I take very little credit for this. You really annoyed the hell out of them, and it was funny. Steve called me the other day and he said, well, he got told by Nouvelle, stop calling me. We're going to do it. So, and they did. They stayed true to their word. And you'll see this. Nice. If anybody wants to see this after the meeting, I'll set it up here. Again, Steve, thank you very much. You know, we couldn't have done it without you. There's still a few things we got to tie up, a few little loose ends, but the bulk of it will be done by the end of the week. So I want to publicly thank the Verizon people, Novell and Bill White from the landscaping company, but especially Steve Filippone. Thank you very much. This is a very good day.
Yes.
So that's all I have. I want to open it to public comment. Mr. Campbell.
Everybody try to make a good effort to be out to the veterans activities on Memorial Day. It's our great country. Memorial Day is one of our honored days to honor those young men and women that shed their blood for our country. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the people of Hamilton Township, by and large, who overwhelmed me with emails, Facebook, cards, phone calls, and God knows what else, wishing me a happy birthday. My birthday was May 2nd, and I was 85 years old. So thank you to the people of Hamilton Township who honored me with salutations. John Groan was one of my first employees that I hired, so it was very nice to see you guys give him an honor today. He spent 40 years with the township, and it just don't seem like 40 years. I was a young guy and up there on the township committee, and we tried our best to employ the best people that we could. And sometimes it was a hard job picking between people, and I know it's a hard job now, especially with so many people needing work. The sweat of the working man is sweet. I'd like to congratulate Rita on your reappointment and appointment as our township clerk. Gentlemen, Rita is one of the nicest and finest ladies that we've ever had in that office, and I've had the experience of working with quite a few. She's a great lady and a good township clerk, and she never fails to get back with phone calls like, Rita, did we get the election results? So she don't wait for my phone calls anymore. She sends them to me right away. Thank you, Rita. Debbie, I went to school with Debbie. I was on the tax board in the county of Atlantic, and Debbie and I went to school. Not 85. No, she was one of the young ladies that was doing tax work, tax courses, and the state requires all the people that are on the tax boards to take 5 very serious tests. When you're my age, sometimes taking those tests are pretty tough. It's a lot of study, a lot of work, and a lot of school, and I had to go a lot of different places. And having nice people like Deb to work with has always been good, and she's a good employee and always answers questions. And anytime I've ever asked her for anything, she's been right there. So I do thank her very much for a great job on being appointed as the zoning officer. And as the zoning chairman for 13 years in this township, I know what it is to work with a good zoning officer. So I wish to thank Debbie, and good luck, bon voyage, and do a good job. And all the employees of the township, we basically have a pretty good staff of people in this community. I doubt if you can find one that's not really enthusiastic and anxious to do their job, and most importantly, to get their paycheck every 2 weeks. So with that, I would like to wish everybody a good Memorial Day, and if there's ever anything I can do further for the township, I'm happy to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday.
Verizon building on Main Street should be made more historic.
Pardon me?
The Verizon building on Main Street needs to be made more historic.
Yeah, well, that would be
Looks,
great, but I don't think we can
really
get them
does
to do
look
that.
ugly, you know, John?
Okay, no, it's a good
we-
point, Jim.
We've been talking about this ever since you've been on HPC yourself, you know?
There was a move to have a mural put on the facade of the building.
No good.
That was historic. But of course, they have to agree to it.
Yeah. And also, about Memorial Day, I would like to see that moved back to May 30th, because that is Memorial Day. Not May 27th like it is this year. May 30th. And
Okay, that's above my pay grade, Jim.
and I also can offer congrats to Debbie.
Why is that, Jim, that you want it moved to 9:30?
That's how it should be. I remember when Veterans Day was in October for a while, for 5 years or 8 years back in the 1970s, because Richard Nixon signed that holiday bill. I just feel May 30th is a proper day for Memorial Day.
What day of the week would that be?
What?
What day of the week would that be?
This year it would fall on a Wednesday.
So how many people do you think will come out for that Wednesday ceremony?
Quite a few.
You think so?
Yes.
I think you have
it's a holiday.
greater.
It's a holiday.
Yeah, but you have a greater percentage of people come out and celebrate on the 27th. Well, that's a decision.
No, I prefer May 30th.
All right, thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
Anne Marie?
I apologize I couldn't be here earlier. I had surgery 2 weeks ago. I had cervical fusion. I am disappointed to hear that you released the bonds, and from what my neighbors telling me that you're going to allow building to start again over in the project. But I have a bigger concern, and I don't know who to deal with on this. Now, I told you before I was thankful to be able to talk to Mr. Dixon, but after the last conversation I had with him, I will not be speaking with him again. I woke up after surgery having a voicemail that made it appear that he told you guys he spoke to you before I attended the meeting. And he was quite agitated that I showed up to the meeting to fight about the bonds. At the end of the conversation, I take it as a little bit of a veiled threat that moving forward about our conversations. So I have a serious complaint about that, as you can tell. Waking up after surgery and hearing that voicemail and then having a conversation saying, is this how I'm going to continue to proceed to fight Fernmore? Absolutely. In the 15 years they've done, they haven't owned it all 15 years, but for the time they've done crap to that basin, and nor have they done anything. Now, I am going to use some of Mr. Dixon's words that I did not repeat at the last meeting. He was concerned that they sent him the same picture and didn't recognize that there was an issue and thought that they could start building, something that was just allowed again tonight. I'd like to know what they were stopped building, because when I came here, I read off a list of properties that were being, I've never seen the construction there at the pace that they're moving. And, I kind of find it also funny that Fernmore keeps at least one lot across that way, so they don't have to do an as-built for that, for that basin. So, moving forward, I will not be talking to him. I'm thankful I do have a good correspondence with the zoning officer, because honestly, Kevin has never sent me documents. I've gotten them from Phil, because the last time I was here, and I don't like to throw people and launch them under a bus, but right now, after the conversation I had with him, I'm going to go to the state at this point as well. Okay. So I want to put that on the record, because honestly, he's more concerned with their bonds being released. He was on the phone laughing at me, saying it's 60 plus times the amount of days that basin should, or 60 plus times the amount of, 3 times that amount, 180 days, which was the 6 months for that thing to drain. There's got to be some type of punitive, whatever you want to call it, to get them to work on it. But him telling me that they didn't see their own algae tells me that they don't have an engineer on deck ready to combat the issue. That they thought that, oh, hey, it drained, let me just get my building permits back. I have absolutely, at this point, no thought that this is ever going to be fixed. There's no thought on how to fix this basin yet. That came out of his mouth like, whatever's, it's open table. Well, open table or not, there's no new plans submitted as far as I know of, unless that was talked about before I got here. And I do apologize, because I didn't see this as landed in my spam folder. My neighbor happened to let me know what happened, so I apologize I wasn't here earlier. So at the end of the day, this is the problem I have. We're allowing businesses to just keep booming, building, basin that's never drained, and I complained in 05. Now they were told they have to fix it and make it drain before they get to move forward with building. And from what my neighbor has told me, and he didn't understand, is apparently they're allowed to now build. I don't know if that came up in here, and I don't want to misspeak, and if I am, I apologize. But that was what was relayed to me in that. So if I am misspeaking, I do apologize. I'm just going by what was told to me, and as soon as I could get down here. Part of the bigger issue is and we've spoken about this before, me going to Mr. Jacobs about this, I don't want to be calling or trying to bother you guys all the time. And at this point, I'll just come to the meetings and listen in and voice my opinion when I see something with Fernmore. But honestly, I kind of really hope that there's something in place, because if you're telling me in 6 months that it can't drain, they have no new plans, but we're going to let them proceed, it kind of sucks for me. I want to see this thing, something done with this.
So what did we pass tonight?
From my understanding, that's why I said, when I walked up, my neighbor texted me that you guys passed the...
Performance bond?
Yes.
No, we did not.
Okay.
We
So
tabled them because
Yeah,
there's issues.
All right. And I appreciate that. And that's why I said if I'm misspeaking, I apologize, because I wasn't here. I'm getting a text message from my neighbor who, I don't even know if he was here. He just sent me a text message, hey, you didn't go to the meeting. This is what's going on.
You can always watch the reruns, though.
I can,
Then
but...
you could get the language.
I can, but part of the problem is I've been so passionate about it. I didn't know about this meeting. Unfortunately, I don't know why it landed. Apple decided to filter this message into my spam folder, because I actually have Rita on and anybody from the township as a VIP, so it usually alerts me. So I didn't see it, so I came to it. So if I look foolish, I look foolish. But this is how passionate I am to try to get my house. This is the broken record part. 14 years I've been dealing with this, They do the fix. Everything that I plan to try to do some type of fix to my house, I have to scrap and start over. I keep pissing away money to try to come up with a solution. And having $500 to $600 electric bills while I'm on disability isn't helping me either. And the only thing electric in my house that's burning that much electric is the pumps. Everything else is gas for heat and everything else in the wintertime. I've never had this build problem like this, excuse me, like this at this point. I just think, I'm trying to be more active because I'm supposed to be walking and all that, but, I really wasn't planning on coming tonight. I knew there was a meeting until all of this as well, so, shame on me. I'm willing to own it. I apologize for misspeaking. I'm going by what my neighbor is telling me, and I want to apologize. That's what was relayed to me, that, permits and all. So my apologies, but I'm at an edge with this. You guys get it. I've been here enough. I've said it, and I do appreciate you guys, but what transpired between me and him and the voicemail,
All right, thank you. Anyone else from the public like to speak?
Move to close the public portion.
Second?
A motion is second. Any questions? Hearing no questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 We're going to adjourn to executive session. Rita, you have something you got to read?
I do. Be it
Okay.
resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Hamilton that this meeting be adjourned to an executive session to discuss the following matter, which is exempt from public discussion pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law, procedures for hiring in the police department, personnel matter. Be it further resolved that the governing body may reconvene in public session and confirm the results of the executive session if there is a majority consensus for action to be taken on the matter tonight. Be it further resolved that the results of said executive session shall be made known as soon as the basis for confidentiality is no longer confidential.
Thank you. We need a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Roger.
Second.
Second.
Motion and a second to adjourn. Everybody's in a hurry. Any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it.
Still daylight out.